So welcome back in this new video. So in this video, I'll be continuing with the data types. So in the previous video, I have left you with the basic information of data types, and I also talked about variables. So I hope you got a clear idea about the variables and some idea about the data types too, because data types is a very vast topic. So I'll be continuing this in this lecture. I'm breaking it into two parts because in the first part I just explained the basics and the upper things which are required to start with it, and now I'm going in details and I'm trying to put all the credible information about these data types. So I hope that those variable concept is very much clear to you, so that we can move on to this data type now. So considering that you are familiar with variables, I'll be moving on data types now. So in the previous video, I had linked you a flow chart of data types, so which I found, and you must have found it very much helpful in understanding or visualizing it clearly. So firstly, I will take the help of that chart, and I'll try to explain what are the different types and how are they related to each other, and what specifications do each have. So let's go to this. This thing. So this was the chart which I gave you in the link. So I'll try to explain this now. So as I told you, there are two types of data types, basically primitive and non-primitive. Okay. So in this primitive we have Boolean and numeric. So what do you mean by Boolean? So in general terms, Boolean is something which is either true or false. So same it is here also. So Boolean is a data type which returns either true value or false value depending upon conditions. Now what are the conditions? Conditions, if you make a program, there must be some conditions or some constants on which the program must be running. So in order to follow or fulfill that constants, you must give some conditions. So and those conditions must return some value. So for basically Boolean is used for is a relational operator and used in conditional programming. So we'll talk about later in detail about this. So just get a brief idea that Boolean is something which returns either true value or a false value, and Boolean is itself a data type. Okay, and now coming to this numeric thing. In numerics we have character or integer. Okay, in character we have this char, and in integer we have integer and floating point. Now what is this in integer and floating point? Integer is something which doesn't have any fractional values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 1.5 or not 2.5 or not 2.305, only integer. You must have studied in mathematics, you know very well. This floating point, if we talk about this floating point, any fractional value or decimal value is termed as floating point value. So the things which I have underlined are the data types, like leaving this primitive and non-primitive. This byte, int, short, long, float, double, all those things are data types. So I'll don't worry, I'll not leave you like this. I'll be explaining each and everything in a very clear manner. I'll go to the online compiler and I explain. I came here just to give a brief idea about that chart and make it like useful to you. So for just visualizing, we are seeing it here. We'll do it in the compiler. Don't worry about that. So as I told you, this int, byte, short, long is comes under integer, and this floating point decimal, basically it is a decimal value thing, floating point, fractional thing. So float and double. Don't worry about these things. I'll explain you in detail in the upcoming 2 to 3 minutes. So these are the data types. Okay. So now let's jump into the main stuff and understand all these things very much clearly. Also, string and array is the data type, you know well. It is non-primitive, and many more complex data structure like maps and all those things will come. Don't worry, I'll take you. So now starting. So this is our online compiler. As I told you that I'll be using this for like basic demonstrations, and then for the bigger programs I'll be using IntelliJ IDEA. So that will make both who have installed the LG ID and not installed happy. So okay, so let's start with the things. So as I have shown you in the chart, there was a primitive data type. Okay, then it had integers, floating point, character, and boolean. Okay, so starting with integers. So integers are whole numbers without any fractional part. Okay, I told you this previously also. So this includes byte, short, int, and long. Okay, uh, okay, I will write it here. If you are not. So integer, integer. In integer we have what? Byte, short, maybe a comma here. Byte, short, int, and long. Hope it's physical. So we have this byte, short, int, and long in integer. Okay. So coming to this one by one, I'll start with byte. So byte is the smallest integer type in category of integers. Okay. So byte has a storage of 8 bit. Okay. So as I told you in the previous video, I had shown you a site which I went and I showed you the maximum and minimum limits of each data type. So for byte we have -128 to 127. Believe me, these values are not very much worthy to mug up. You can see it on the internet whenever you want. No need to learn these values. Just have a basic approximation that what ranges are there in the data types. Okay. I am also seeing from somewhere and telling these values. I also personally don't remember this 128 and all those things. So to be honest, I'm also reading from from somewhere and telling this because you no need to remember those exact values. Just need to have a basic approximation. What is the range of each data type? Okay, what values it can store. So for byte we for byte we have -128 to 127 byte, negative -128 to positive 127. Okay, and if you want to declare a byte variable, just write it byte a. That's it. A byte is declared, and if you want to initialize this, a equal to 2. Because it comes under integer category, we can only assign it integral values. So we gave it 2 here. Okay, so that's about byte. Now coming to short. Short has a space of 16 bit. Okay, it is somewhat higher than the byte. Actually, if you see, it is double of the byte because byte has 8 bit and this short has 16 bit. Okay, so same thing. It is also an integer. It comes under integer. So in order to declare it, just write it uh, short C. It is the declaration and C equal to 3. It is the initialization. So we have seen byte and short. The main difference is the amount of space uh, which is given to the data type to store the elements. Okay. Now coming to int. Int is the most preferably used and most vastly used data type in integers. You will be using int very rigorously. So it is also an integer and it uses a 32 bit. It has a 32 bit storage in int. And if you want to declare any int data type, just type int e. So this int e is declared and e equal to 100. So it is initialized also. You can do it in the same line too. Int e equal to 100. Nothing much big in that. So yeah. So within byte, short, int. Now coming to long. So again the same thing. It also comes under integers, but it has a more space. Space allocated to it. So it is 64 bit type storage data type. Okay, we like and to initialize it or declare it, just write long d or something, anything. D equal to 2, 5, 6, 9, 8, 7 or anything, whatever you want. So as it has a large storage space, we can assign very big amount of data in that. So so why all these data types? Why can't we use simple integer and include all this? So this is because the requirements are different. Okay, consider if you want a very big, uh, like if you want some uh, account number or something which is which is having a long number of digits, or if you want to do some transaction which requires 6 digits, 5 digits. So maybe INT may not handle it. We have to go to long to do that. And maybe if you want to save space and not waste our memory, we might use byte, a smaller version of using integers, and do it in a faster way as compared to making more space in the drive and not using only small amount of that. So this is just for our convenience and requirement. Okay, so we talked about the data types of integers. Okay, so for integers we have all these, I think we have 4 to 5, whatever. Now come to the floating point values. So floating point numbers are also called as real numbers. Okay, just the difference is just the something which is like differentiates them from integers are they have some decimal values. Okay, so or you can say number which have fractional precision, or if you I tell you, if I initialize this float a equal to 2.56 or 2.5 only. So this is float and this is a floating point value. Okay, so for understanding it basic in a clear way or in a basic way, in a layman terms, what I say, uh, any variable which has a decimal value is a floating point type. Okay, now floating point type has two types basically. It is a float and a double. So the float is a single precision value. Okay, it uses a 32-bit of storage. On some processors it is faster, but on some processors it depends on processor, what kind of processor you have. The speed depends on that. So I'll not go in that much detail. I'll just talk about those things. Okay, so float can be used wherever we are dealing with small precision decimal values like 2.5, 2.68, or I'll give you the range. I don't remember the range exactly. As I told you, I also see and tell you the ranges because they are not needed to be remembered too. But you need to just remember the limits. Like we should have a basic approximation. What are the limits? Like in terms of bytes, float has 4 bytes and this double has 8 bytes. Okay, and by that also you can basically approximate the range of decimal values which are being taken. And that's not a big deal. Okay, so now coming to double. So I hope you understand float. Okay, I tell it again. So in the float, you use 32 bytes of storage, and it's a single precision value. Okay, and it is used whenever representing some values which are not having higher precision. Okay, like 2.5, 2.6, 2.78, 2.936, like that. Now coming to double. Double is also a decimal data type. So I'll initialize double f equal to 2.365. So double has a double precision value, as the name clearly suggests. So float has a single precision value, but double has a double precision value. It uses a 64-bit of storage, so its precision is faster than single precision on some modern processors. So I'll not go in detail again, but just remember, float and double both are floating point types. Just the difference is that of storage and precision. In float you have 32 bits of storage and single precision. In double you have 64 bits of storage and double precision. Both these data types have the same thing to do with. Okay, so I hope these things are clear now. Now we have finished integer and floating values. Now coming to the character. Okay, so when you hear this thing character, so something must come in your mind, right? Don't think about that character, that and English meaning. Okay, so leave that. So in this character, it is a 16-bit type storage. So basically, it stores uh, any, like I'll declare it char a equal to, for instance I'll take a. So this stores any character, like it can store char. Don't mind if the data type names are, variable names are same. I'm just telling you for the demonstration, nothing else. If I store a symbol, it's totally fine. So it can store any single character, you know, yeah, any, it can be an integer, it can be a symbol, it can be a alphabet, anything. So it is just used to store a single character. Okay, because why I am saying it is single, because also you can store like it's not that you can't store uh, any two characters or three characters, but you should be that should be in the limit of, the space, 16 bits. Okay, so it's a basic uses to store a character. Okay, so if we have if we have any program in which you have to compare characters, and like you will come across some programs later on you should be having to find out if the how many vowels are there, on how many such letters are there, sorry, such letters are there which have some specific values. So you'll be using char in that time, and checking the value through loops. Okay, don't mind if you don't understand these things. So I'll tell you in detail, and I'll come to that. So the main aim is to understand, to make you understand this. What is this about? So char. So char is just to store a single character. Okay, it may be a number, it may be a symbol, it may be a alphabet. Okay, it can be anything. So this is the thing, and it has 16 bits of memory allocated in that. Okay. Now coming to boolean, as I told you, boolean is a logical operator which is used to, which gives out either true or false. So depending upon the conditions, and talking about declaration, boolean f equal to true, sorry, true, or you can say f equal to false. So this boolean is just an operator which is a logical operator which gives either true or false depending upon the conditions given in the program and required by the question. Okay, so it will give true and false depending upon the conditions. Okay, nothing else other than that. It is a very simple and very useful operator. If you come to programming, you'll have more experience of this boolean, and you'll be knowing its awesome features also. Okay, so I think now we are finished with the primitive ones. Now let me see if I missed out something in that chart. And so we have done boolean, we have done char, we have done byte, int, short, long, float, double. Yeah, so this primitive is now finished. Now we'll be going to non-primitive data types. Okay, so I'll just taking this string and array, and this complex data structures we'll be covering when we will be coming across those things in the course. So now I'll just give you a basic idea of string and array, and I'll be leading you in that. And whenever we'll be needing all these concepts, I'll be telling you at that time only. Okay. So yeah. So like I told you, this character char a equal to a. So this is used to store a single element. So what if we want to store a name or a bigger set of characters, like anything in the, like I want to store this browxy. So definitely it won't be stored in this char. So you need a data type which will be able to store these high space taking things. Okay, so we use string for that. String str equal to b. Okay, so this is a new string declared. Sorry. So this is a new string declared. String str. Str is the name of the string which I have made, and this contains browxy. Okay. Okay, so this new string str is created here, which contains browxy. its name is str and it contains the letters B, R, O, W, X, Y. So this str can contain any sentence or any big like I told you it has a more space than this uh, character obviously. So it can store uh, sentences or lines. Okay. So now for this character thing we have a string. Okay. So what about if we want to store some large amount of numbers? So what we'll do in that case? So for that case we have data type called array. Okay. So we use array, and I told you how we declare. I'll show you. 19, name it arr equal to yeah. So this is the array. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is stored in this array named arr. Okay, or 8 triple r, whatever. So so for large number of characters we use string. For large number of numerals we use array. Okay, and the name is str for this string and this 8 triple r for this array. You can type any name of your choice. I just taken str and arr for this instance. Okay, so now I'm giving you just a brief idea about this string and array. We'll have a special series of this string and array and its functions in the upcoming videos. Okay, don't worry that what is this if you don't understand it clearly. I'll be taking this string and arrays are very much important topics of this Java. So I'll be not leaving this like this. I'll be taking this in a very broad manner, and also it has a lot of stuff to cover. So that's why I have to take it in a broad manner, obviously. So this is a basic string and how it is declared, and this is a basic array how it is declared. So why do we need this string and array? I told you again. So I'll tell you because we cannot store large number of characters in this char. If we want to store any sentence or any name or any line, we can't store in this char because it doesn't have that much space. So we use we use string. And if you want to store large number of digits or any homogeneous elements, we'll use arrays. Okay, I'll tell you more features of arrays and string in the upcoming videos. For just an introduction, I'm telling you about these strings and arrays. Also, why we are using this semicolon? If you are new to programming, you must be having this question in your mind. So wherever I see, everywhere I use this semicolon. So this is basically to signify that end of our statement. Okay. So in Java, there is a syntax, and you have to put semicolons after every statement you write. Not every statement. For the conditional statements and all those things, you use a bracket to signify starting and end. But for a statement which is not a conditional or not a loop or something like that, we always use these operators. Okay, semicolons. So these are the basic things, and I hope these data types are very much clear to you. And still you have any doubt, you can just write in the comment box or ping me or mail me, or I'll try to solve it. So I'll recommend you to practice uh, and see the things again if you are having any doubts. And for understanding some concept which you have missed, want to understand at that time only, you should go online and search, because it is the best way to learn. Yeah, that's it. Keep practicing, and that's all for this video.